The market where no one dared to go, the twin suns hung low in the purple sky of Telvanna Prime, casting long shadows across the busy market streets. Traders shouted, buyers haggled, and strange alien smells filled the air. It was noisy, crowded, and colorful, like every other market in the outer colonies. But at the far end of the market there was one stall that no one went near. It sat under a torn black canopy, half covered in dust. Strange symbols were burned into the wooden beams above. The space around it was always empty, like an invisible wall pushed people away. Every vendor nearby stayed silent when they passed it. Sitting under the canopy was a girl, not fully human. Her skin was pale blue, her long hair silver like moonlight. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with warmth but like frozen fire. She never spoke. She just sat still day after day behind a table of old artifacts that no one dared to touch. Beside her, resting like a shadow, was her beast. The creature was massive, part cat, part lizard, with hard black scales and 4 glowing red eyes. It didn't move, but it watched, always watching. Some said it could read minds. Others said it had eaten 6 men. No one knew for sure, but everyone agreed on one thing. You didn't go near that stall. Until one day. Someone did. Jace Varlo was a human trader. Not rich, not poor, just a survivor. He carried spice from Dust World, tools from the Forge Moons, and sometimes secrets. He walked into the market wearing a long coat and a tired face. People moved. For him, not out of fear, but respect. He'd traded on Telvanna Prime for years, and he was known to be fair. Not many humans could say that out here. He paused at the edge of the market. His eyes scanned the crowd, then stopped. He saw the stall, the girl, the beast. People noticed where he was looking, and froze. "Don't," whispered an old alien, vendor beside him. "That one's cursed, her beast will tear you apart." Jace didn't answer. He just walked. Step by step, he crossed the invisible line. People held their breath. Even the loud market seemed to go quiet. The girl didn't. Look up, the beast didn't move, but both knew he was coming. Jace stopped just in front of the table. "Mind if I sit?" he asked calmly. No answer. The girl finally lifted her head. Her eyes locked onto his, glowing like twin moons. The beast growled low, deep in its chest. Jace didn't flinch. He slowly pulled out a small pouch from his coat. Inside were crystal flakes, rare spice from the asteroid mines of Jal. He placed it gently on the table. "I don't want trouble," he said. "I want trade." The girl blinked once. Her voice was quiet, but it carried clearly in the silence. "I've been waiting. For you." Gasps spread through the crowd. People backed away. Some ran. Jace raised an eyebrow. "Strange thing to say. We've never met." The girl leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "Not in this life." The beast stood up, slow and heavy. Its claws tapped the stone floor as it stepped between Jace and the girl. Jace didn't move. He reached into his pocket again and pulled out dried meat. Slowly, he offered it to the beast. The creature sniffed it, then looked at the girl. She gave a small nod. The beast took the meat, chewing slowly, never breaking eye contact with Jace. The girl spoke again. "No one comes near me. They think I'm cursed. They think my beast will kill them." "They're probably right," Jace said, sitting down. "But I'm used to danger." She tilted her head. "Why are you really here?" "I go where others don't," he answered. "That's how you find the real treasures." A long pause. Then she whispered, "What if the treasure is a lie?" Jace smiled faintly. "Then I trade for the truth instead." For the first time, the girl's face changed. A hint of emotion, a flicker of surprise or sorrow crossed her glowing eyes. "You're not like the others," she said softly. "No," Jace replied, "and I don't think you are either." The wind picked up, blowing through the market. The sun dipped lower, casting the stall in golden shadow. Around them, the crowd slowly began to whisper again. But no one dared come closer, because something had changed. The next morning, the market was back to its usual noise. Alien voices, shouting, machines buzzing, goods changing hands. But one corner stayed silent. The stall with the strange girl and the beast was still untouched by the crowd. The same space of fear still circled it. Except today. Jace came back. He walked through the market with quiet steps, ignoring the stares. His coat fluttered as he moved, the sun behind him like a spotlight. Some vendors turned their backs. Others whispered, "The human's back, he's crazy." Jace didn't care. He reached the stall. The girl was already waiting. She was sitting the same way as before, still, cold, unreadable. But this time, her eyes lit up a little when she saw him. The beast, however, stood immediately, growling. "It remembers me," Jace said, smirking. The girl placed her hand gently on the creature's back. "It remembers everyone. But it hasn't killed you yet. That means something." Jace held out a small metal box. "Today I bring something different." She raised an eyebrow. He opened it. Inside were old human coins. Real ones. From Earth. Rare. She didn't touch them. "I don't want currency," she said. "Then what do you want?" Jace asked. "Information," she replied. Jace looked surprised. The girl leaned closer. "I want to know why you came here yesterday." "Really?" Jace thought for a moment. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he took a slow breath, then reached into his coat again. This time he pulled out a small photo. It was worn, edges cracked. A little human girl in a yellow dress smiled in the picture. Jace handed it to the alien girl. "She was my daughter," he said quietly. "She died during the Battle of Grey Reach." The girl blinked. Something in her eyes changed. Pain, perhaps? Jace continued. "When I saw you yesterday, sitting alone, everyone afraid of you, it reminded me of her. She used to sit in markets too. Never smiled much. But she was kind." Silence fell between them. Then the girl did something no one in the market had ever seen. She reached out and touched the photo. "She would have grown up by now," Jace said, voice low. "If the war hadn't taken her." The girl pulled her hand back. "War takes everything." There was something heavy in her voice, a weight of memory. "You were a soldier?" Jace said softly. She nodded, but not a willing one. She looked down. "My planet chose my path before I was born. The beast was assigned to me after I disobeyed." "Disobeyed what?" "An order," she whispered. "To burn a village. Human children were inside." Jace's jaw clenched. "I refused. They called me a traitor. My own kind stripped me of rank. The beast was bonded to me to make sure I could never run or fight again. It is my judge and jailer." Jace looked at the beast. It stared back, unmoving. "I thought it was your pet." "No," she said, "it's my punishment." Jace leaned forward, serious now. "Why haven't you tried to escape this planet?" She shook her head. "I can't. The beast is psychic. If I go too far from its range, it will activate and kill me." "Then how did you get here?" She looked away. "I was dropped here to be forgotten." Jace sat in silence for a moment. Then he said, "Maybe you were forgotten, but I didn't come here to forget." She looked at him again. "Then why are you here?" "To find something honest in a galaxy full of lies," he replied. "And maybe help someone who deserves a second chance." Suddenly, a loud voice rang out in the distance. "Step away from the stall." Jace turned sharply. Two local enforcers, armored and armed, marched toward them. One of them pointed at Jace. "Human, you were warned not to speak with her." Jace stood. "I'm a free trader. I talk to who I want." The second guard hissed, "She's dangerous. That beast will snap your neck." Jace didn't move. "Then let it." The beast growled louder now, stepping forward. The alien girl stood quickly. "Enough!" Her voice was sharp, commanding. The beast stopped. The guards hesitated, and in that moment everyone around the market saw something no one expected. The beast obeyed her. One of the guards looked shaken. She controls it? No, she said softly. It chooses not to kill. For now. The guard slowly backed away, unwilling to risk a fight. As they disappeared into the crowd, the girl turned back to Jace. You could have walked away, she said. You still can. Jace smiled faintly. Not my style. She tilted her head. Then you'll need protection. He looked at the beast. Think it likes me now? No, she said, then added, but it respects you. The wind howled across the dark plains outside the market that night. Strange lights moved in the sky, distant ships flying between moons. But inside her tent, Elrani did not sleep. She sat by a dim lantern, sharpening a blade she never used, staring at the human photo Jace had left behind. Beside her, the beast slept with one eye open, always alert. Then, before dawn, the beast stirred. A presence was approaching. Footsteps, steady, heavy. Elrani didn't look up. She already knew. He's back, she whispered. The beast growled low, not in anger but warning. Jace stepped through the dust and stood just outside the tent flap. He didn't call out. He simply waited. The beast stepped out first, its 4 glowing eyes scanning him. Jace raised both hands slowly. I'm not here to fight. It moved closer. One slow step, then another. The air between them grew tense. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then, with surprising speed, the beast lunged forward. It stopped an inch from Jace's face, its hot breath steaming in the cold. Jace didn't move. Elrani finally stepped out of the tent. If it wanted, you dead. You'd already be ash, she said quietly. Jace smiled. I came back because I have something important. He slowly reached into his coat again. This time, he pulled out something strange. A collar. Old, cracked, with wires sticking out of it. A control device. Elrani's eyes widened. Where did you get that? From a dead world, Jace replied. A lab once used creatures like yours for war, but someone broke the system. She stepped forward slowly. You're saying the beast can be freed? I'm saying the bond isn't as unbreakable as they told you. She looked at the creature. It stared back at her, unmoving, but its breathing had changed, like it was listening, understanding. I've always thought it hated me, she whispered. Jace shook his head. No, it's protecting you. Maybe not because of a bond, but because it remembers something you don't. She looked confused. Jace explained. These creatures were once bioengineered for loyalty. They only obeyed those who showed them mercy first. Elrani blinked. Her voice came out shaky. When I was a child, I remember a small creature, injured, in the training pits. I saved it. My father punished me for it. She turned toward the beast slowly. It was you, wasn't it? The beast did not growl. It lowered its head. Jace stepped back. I think your jailer was never a jailer at all. Tears welled in her glowing eyes. All this time, I thought I was cursed. You were never cursed, Jace said softly. You were lied to. Suddenly there was a sharp sound outside, a blast of static. A projection lit up in the air. A bounty message. Elrani's face. Her name. A reward. 50,000 credits. Alive or dead. Elrani stared at it in horror. They found me. Jace looked, calm. They found us. Elrani looked down. You need to leave. Now. Jace didn't move. Didn't you hear me? She snapped. They'll kill you too. Jace pulled out a small transmitter and crushed it under his boot. No turning. Back now, he said. I knew the risk the second I took your side. The beast stepped beside him now, forming a wall between Elrani and the outside world. A shadow fell over the tent. Boots crunched on the dust. Voices. Dozens of them. Armed bounty hunters. One of them shouted, Send out the girl, or we burn. Everything. Elrani looked at Jace. They'll use firebombs. The beast can't protect us from that. Jace's eyes narrowed. Unless we strike first, she frowned. What? He opened his satchel. Inside, an old tech device. It glowed faint blue. This is a signal disruptor. Not strong enough to kill, but enough to knock out targeting systems for 30 seconds. That's not enough time to run, she whispered. No, Jace said. But it's enough time to fight. The beast growled in approval. Elrani looked. Between them, this human and this creature that should have hated her. And for the first time in years, she didn't feel alone. Outside, the bounty hunters lined up. Their leader raised his rifle. Last chance, he yelled. Give her up. Inside the tent, Jace looked at Elrani. Ready? She nodded. He flipped the switch. The signal burst out in a silent wave. Outside, all weapons sparked and shut, down for half a minute. The bounty hunters shouted in confusion, and then the beast roared. It exploded out of the tent like a dark missile, leaping into the crowd with fury and grace. Elrani followed, twin blades in her hands, moving like a storm. Jace covered the rear, using only fists and courage. 30 seconds of chaos. Then silence. Only 3 bounty hunters crawled away. The rest ran or lay unconscious. The beast returned, blood splattered on its scales, but not injured. Elrani stood in the middle of the dust storm, not as a prisoner, but as a warrior. They found shelter inside the skeleton of a crashed freighter, half buried in red sand. Rusted walls creaked in the wind. Burned control panels glowed weakly, like dying fireflies. This was no place to live, but for now it was safe. Elrani sat by a broken engine, staring at nothing. Her face was calm, but her fingers trembled. She could still hear the screams, still feel the heat of the firebombs dropped by those bounty hunters, her people. The beast curled around her protectively. Jace stood nearby, watching quietly. He knew not to speak yet, but after a long silence, she finally whispered, I wasn't always like this. Jace stepped closer. Careful. Tell me. Elrani took a deep breath, as if pulling painful memories out of a locked room. I was born into war, she said. My people, the Varuk, they trained children to fight before they could speak. We were told humans were enemies, monsters. I believed it. Until that day. Jace sat beside her now. She continued. We landed on a human colony during the 3rd expansion wave. Our orders were clear. Eliminate all life. Show no mercy. But her voice cracked. There were children, human children, playing with handmade toys. One of them saw me and waved. He smiled at me. She closed her eyes. He looked like my younger brother. Jace listened quietly. I hesitated, she said. I couldn't give the order. My squad leader screamed at me, called me weak. I dropped my rifle and walked away. What happened then? Jace asked gently. They bombed the town anyway, burned everything. Later I was arrested. My rank stripped. My family erased my name from records. She touched her arm. Scars still marked where they had branded her. They didn't kill me. That would have made me a martyr. Instead, they gave me the beast and exiled me. Jace clenched his fists. I lost someone in that same raid, he said. My cousin's daughter, she was only 6. Elrani looked at him, guilt in her eyes. I'm sorry, she whispered. I wanted to stop them. I failed. No, Jace said firmly. You tried. That matters. The beast shifted slightly, as if feeling her pain. It nudged her shoulder gently with its horned head. You're not a traitor, Jace said. You're the only one who saw the truth. I don't think the truth matters anymore, she said bitterly. It does, Jace replied. Because I recorded everything you just said. Elrani froze. You what? He pulled out a small cube, the kind used by journalists and spies. I carry it for interviews, war crimes, lost stories. Your story needs to be heard. Her eyes widened with fear. You'll get hunted. You already are. He shrugged. I've always been good at running. A sudden noise echoed through the hull. The beast stood instantly growling. Elrani and Jace reached for their weapons. Then, a small metallic drone floated into the room, projecting a red hologram of a tall armored alien. His face was cold, his voice colder. El Rani of House Ember, you have spoken the unspeakable. You have confessed treason again. You will be silenced permanently. The drone exploded. Dust and heat rolled through the freighter. Jace tackled El Rani behind a crate. The beast shielded them both. Once the shock passed, El Rani stood with rage in her eyes. They won't stop. Not until I'm dead. Then we make your voice too loud to silence, Jace said. She looked at him shocked. You'd risk your life for my truth? He nodded. My daughter died because of a lie. I won't let another good soul be buried under one. They started packing. Jace knew a smuggler who could get them off-world. But it wouldn't be easy. Before leaving, El Rani stood near the freighter door and carved something into the wall with her knife. Jace came to look. It was a symbol. What does it mean, he asked. It was once my family's crest, she said. The House of Ember stood for justice before they became monsters. Jace looked at it. Maybe it can stand for that again. Outside, the stars began to shift. A transport ship was coming in, unmarked, fast, and too quiet. Jace cursed. Scouts, they're here. El Rani looked at the beast. We run? Jace shook his head. No, we broadcast. In the middle of the desert, under the broken antenna of the crashed freighter, they connected Jace's recording cube to a signal dish. El Rani looked up at the stars and began to speak again, this time into the galaxy. Her voice was strong. I'm El Rani. I was a soldier trained to kill humans. I refused. I watched innocents burn, and I was punished. Her story spread like a wildfire. The signal reached old colonies, freedom fighters, and even human war veterans who remembered her, named from battle logs, and for the first time in years, someone believed her. Smoke still rose in the distance where the drone exploded. The desert was quiet now, but the silence felt wrong, like a predator holding its breath. Inside the broken freighter, El Rani paced back and forth. Her eyes were sharp, focused, calculating. We can't stay here, she said. They'll send more, not bounty hunters this time, official enforcers, assassins. Jace checked the power level on the signal booster. We bought time. The broadcast went out. Someone's listening now. El Rani turned to face him. We need to leave this planet. Jace nodded. I know someone. He owes me a favor. That someone was a half-blind smuggler named Cray, who lived in a rust bucket crawler that crawled beneath the sand. He wasn't easy to contact, but Jace had his old beacon. He sent a pulse. Hours passed. Then a reply came. Landing at dusk. One shot, don't bring trouble. Jace showed El Rani the message. She didn't smile. There's always trouble. As the sun dipped low, they packed what little they had. The beast moved slower now. It was tired from the last fight, but still alert. Jace looked at it. Will it fit inside a smuggler ship? El Rani glanced at the creature. If not, we'll take over the ship. They shared a quiet laugh. The first in days, but their peace didn't last long. As they climbed a ridge near the landing site, a blast exploded near Jace's feet, throwing him backward. Ambush. Black-armored figures rushed out of the rocks, silent, fast, precise. These weren't bounty hunters. These were assassins. El Rani grabbed her blades. The beast charged forward like a living storm. Jace struggled to his feet, blood on his forehead. He ducked behind a boulder and opened a pulse grenade. 3 seconds, he muttered. He threw it into the nearest group. Boom. A flash of blue light. One assassin dropped, but more were coming. El Rani fought like a shadow, her blades dancing in the dying sunlight. The beast tore through armor like paper, but they were outnumbered, and Jace was slowing down. Then something unexpected happened. A voice shouted from above. Stop! A new figure stepped out of the dust, a tall alien woman, dressed in royal gold and black. Her face was hidden behind a jeweled mask, but El Rani froze. No, she whispered. It can't be. Jace looked at her. Who is that? El Rani's voice trembled. My older sister. The woman removed her mask. Her face was similar to El Rani's, but colder, crueler. El Rani, she said calmly. You've caused quite a mess. El-Rani stepped forward. You're alive? The woman nodded. Alive. And in charge. I lead the council now, and I've come to end this. Jace stepped between them. You're the one who gave the kill order? She looked at him with mild interest. And you're the human traitor who's making this worse. Jace raised his weapon. Try me. She ignored it. El-Rani, she continued, come with me now. We'll say you were misled. I'll remove the bounty. El-Rani laughed bitterly. You mean you'll lock me away and erase my story? The sister smiled. Of course, that's how survival works. Suddenly, El-Rani's beast growled, deep and sharp, but her sister raised a glowing rod, and the beast froze. Its limbs locked. Its eyes blinked in confusion. Jace shouted, What's happening? El-Rani gasped. She has a backup control device. The sister stepped forward. You never understood the chain, little sister. You thought kindness could overwrite design. El-Rani ran to the beast, trying to touch it. Fight it, please. You're more than a weapon. The creature trembled, but it could not move. The sister raised her hand. Goodbye, El-Rani. Then, a gunshot rang out. The sister stumbled back. Jace had fired, not at her, but at the control rod. It shattered in sparks. The beast leapt forward and tackled the sister, roaring with rage, but it stopped short of killing her. El-Rani called softly, Don't. Not like them. We're not like them. The beast hesitated, then it stepped back. The assassins, confused by their leader's fall, started to retreat. In the chaos, a small shuttle appeared overhead. Cray's voice came through a speaker. Get in. Now. Jace grabbed El-Rani's hand. This is it. She looked back at her sister, unconscious, blood on her hands, pride shattered. She said nothing. They ran. Inside the smuggler's ship, the doors slammed shut. The engines roared. As they lifted off, dust covering the windows, Jace finally collapsed into a seat. Remind me why I don't just trade spice. El-Rani leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Because spice doesn't talk back. They shared a tired smile. The beast curled beside them, finally safe. For now. The smuggler ship cut through the darkness of space like a silent knife. The stars outside were cold, far away, and unfamiliar. El-Rani stood by the observation window, arms crossed. Her glowing eyes reflected the stars. She had left Telvanna Prime behind, but not the weight in her chest. Jace leaned against the console behind her, checking the coordinates. Delta 5 is a ghost station, he said. Shut down after the war. If someone's using it now, they're doing it in secret. Then it's the right place, El-Rani whispered. Truth only survives in the shadows. The smuggler, Cray, didn't speak much. He didn't ask questions. He just flew, accepted payment, and smoked sour-smelling roots from a pipe older than the ship itself. But even he seemed nervous as they approached Delta 5. The station appeared slowly, massive, silent, and cracked in several places. Lights blinked. In patterns across its surface, it looked dead, but something inside still moved. As they docked, the landing clamps grabbed them like claws. Are we sure this isn't a trap? Jace asked. No, El-Rani said. The beast growled low beside her. Good, Jace muttered. I hate being sure. Inside the station, corridors were dark, walls scorched from old battle scars. The air smelled like rust, old oil, and forgotten stories. They walked slowly, weapons ready. Then, without warning, soft lights turned on ahead. Figures stepped out of the shadows. Humans. Aliens. A few hybrids. Some wore parts of old uniforms, tattered, mismatched armor from the human Varrock War. Others wore cloaks with no markings. They were outcasts, survivors, rebels, and in front stood a woman, tall, human, with one cybernetic arm and eyes that flickered green. I'm Commander Hale, she said, and I fought in the Grey Reach massacre. I heard your voice, El-Rani. El-Rani lowered her weapon. You were there? Hale nodded. You stopped your squad from killing my niece. A quiet pause. Then I owe you everything. They were taken to the old war room, now a dim command center with cracked screens and half-working systems. Jay stared at the blinking map of the galaxy. You've been hiding all this time? Hale nodded. The war ended, but the truth never came out. We've been gathering pieces, building a case, but we needed a face, a voice. She looked at Elrani. Now we have one. Later, in a private room, Hale showed them something strange, a glowing pod sealed behind glass. Inside was another creature, not quite like Elrani's beast, but similar. Younger, smaller, still growing. Jace stepped back. That's another one? Hale nodded. We found it in a lab after the war. The Varrock were making more. Elrani stepped closer, eyes wide. They were building an army of living weapons. Yes, Hale said, but they weren't just weapons. She pressed a button. A hologram appeared, an old Varrock scientist, speaking in a broken voice. The creatures bond with emotion, with memory, with kindness. They reject fear. They obey trust. Jace blinked. That's not what we were told. Hale looked at Elrani. You broke the design when you showed your beast compassion. It chose you, not because it was forced, but because it remembered love. Elrani stepped back, tears in her eyes. All this time, I thought I was being punished. No, Hale said gently. You were being protected. That night, Elrani sat alone in the observation chamber. Her beast lay beside her, eyes closed but still aware. Jace entered quietly and sat next to her. You okay? She didn't answer at first. Then she said, My sister didn't know. She believed the old programming. Jace nodded. And now, she'll come for me again, but next time, she won't just try to silence me, she'll try to destroy everything I touch. Jace reached into his coat and pulled out the recording cube again. Then let's give her something she can't. Erase. The next morning, Elrani stood in front of the rebel crew. Her voice echoed across the old station systems. She told her story again, this time with faces listening. She told them about the colony, about the children, about refusing orders, about the beast who stayed by her side. And finally she said, I am not a traitor. I am a witness, and I am not alone. The rebels cheered. A new broadcast was sent, this time encrypted, multiplied, spread across hundreds of relay buoys. Her message was everywhere. The truth had taken flight. Hook ending. In the final scene, a black cruiser hidden in deep space received the message. Inside stood her sister, now dressed in full war armor. She crushed a glass in her hand. So, she wants to fight. She turned to her soldiers. Then prepare the fleet. The galaxy burned with rumors. After Elrani's broadcast from Delta 5, thousands of rebel networks picked up her story. Stations once afraid to speak now whispered her name. Survivors of destroyed colonies sent her messages of hope. Some even offered aid. But others sent death. Her sister, the supreme strategist of the Varrock, had declared her a living infection. A fleet was sent, big enough to crush Delta 5 into dust. Commander Hale paced the dark war room. Our weapons are old, our shields weaker. But we have something they don't. Truth. Jace smirked. Truth doesn't stop plasma rounds. Hale nodded. No, but it gives people a reason to fight. Elrani entered, her steps slow, but steady. Her beast walked beside her, armored in black plating scavenged from the station. I won't run, she said. No one asked her to. Hours later, the alarms screamed across Delta 5. The Varrock fleet had arrived. Outside, beyond the station's metal skin, dark warships unfolded like blades, sleek, silent, deadly. At the center, a black cruiser with golden markings, the personal flagship of General Varela, Elrani's sister. She had not come to talk. She had come to erase. The station trembled, with tension. Old cannons warmed up, shields buzzed weakly. Inside the command deck, Commander Hale gave orders while sweat ran down her back. Hold fire until I say. On the other side of the galaxy, every small rebel group tuned into the live relay Jace had hacked together. They were watching, waiting. Elrani stood at the center of it all, calm. But deep inside, her heart raced. Jace stepped beside her. You don't have to face her alone. Yes, I do, Elrani said. She was my blood. I believed in her once. Maybe part of me still does. Suddenly, a message blinked on the screen. Incoming Hale, from Virella. Hale looked at Elrani. She nodded. The screen came to life. Virella's face filled the command deck. Cold, perfect, unshaken. She wore full war regalia. Behind her, thousands of Varuk soldiers stood at attention. Elrani, she said, I give you one last chance. Surrender. Kneel. I'll make it quick. Elrani looked straight into her sister's eyes. You always wanted to be remembered. I wanted peace. Now, you'll be remembered for trying to kill it. Virella's eyes narrowed. So be it. The screen went dark. The first shot came fast. A blast from the flagship smashed into Delta V's outer ring. Explosions rocked the station. Lights flickered. We're hit, someone shouted. Shields holding barely. Jace grabbed Elrani's arm. We can't outgun them. No, she said, but we can outsmart them. She turned to Commander Hale. Patch me into the open channel. Hale hesitated, then nodded. Elrani's voice was sent into space. Every rebel, every soldier, every ship heard it. This is Elrani. I was called traitor, coward, and criminal. But I am none of those things. I chose mercy. I chose life. And now I choose resistance. She paused. I do not ask you to fight for me. I ask you to fight for yourselves, for truth, for those who can't speak. She ended the message. Then, from far across space, small ships appeared. Old cargo haulers, civilian patrol boats, miners, traders, smugglers. One by one, they dropped out of hyperspace, flying under no flag but truth. They had come. Inside Delta V's launch bay, Elrani suited up, a simple black uniform with silver lines stitched into the arms. Beside her, her beast wore a new headpiece, a neural link that connected its senses to hers. Jace approached, wearing old armor of his own. You ready? No, she said. But that's never stopped me. She mounted her light skiff, the beast jumping onto a platform beside it. Hale looked at them from the blast doors. What's your plan? I'm going to board my sister's ship, Elrani said. Jace blinked. Alone? Not alone, she replied, looking at her beast. They launched into space under heavy fire. Turrets turned, missiles flew, but Elrani's skiff was fast, dodging like a shadow. The beast roared across the void, leaping from wreckage to wreckage using grav boots and claws. Jace followed in a second ship, covering her flank. They reached the flagship, attached to its hull like flies on a sleeping giant. They cut a hole in the underbelly and slipped inside. Inside the Varric ship, everything was gold and black. Silent corridors, cold lights, then footsteps. A squad of armored soldiers blocked their way. The beast growled. Elrani stepped forward. I'm not here for you, she said. I'm here for her. The soldiers hesitated. And then one dropped his weapon. Then another. They stepped aside. Elrani walked through. At the core of the ship, the war throne waited. And sitting on it, General Virella. She stood slowly, removing her war helm. You came, she said. I had to, Elrani replied. You taught me that. Virella stepped forward. You are not stronger than me, not smarter. Why do you fight? Because I still believe you can change. That made Virella laugh. I don't want to change. I want to win. She raised a plasma blade. Elrani raised hers. They charged. The Battle between sisters was brutal. Fast strikes, sparks, blood, fury. Varela was stronger, trained longer, but Elrani had something she never did, a bond. The beast smashed through the side wall, growling loud enough to shake the throne room. Varela turned. You trained it to obey you? No, Elrani said. I didn't train it, it chose me. Varela tried to activate a control rod, but it sparked uselessly in her hand. Jace had already destroyed the control codes. The beast roared and charged, but Elrani stopped it. No, this is my fight. She fought her sister with everything left inside her, not to kill, but to stop her. Blade against blade, memory against memory. And finally, Varela fell. Elrani stood over her, panting. The beast stood beside her, silent. Varela coughed, blood on her lips. You were never meant to lead, she whispered. No, Elrani said. But maybe I was meant to heal. She stepped back. I'm leaving you alive, so you can see what the galaxy becomes without your chains. Jace arrived moments later. Is it done? Elrani looked up. No, it's just beginning. Back on Delta 5, rebel ships cheered as the Varric fleet retreated. Some even joined the rebellion. Others vanished. But the war was over. Not with more fire, but with truth.